John, have you ever worked anywhere 38 years?
Sometimes I didn't work 38 days.
We're in broadcasting.
Sometimes I didn't make it past the probation period.
As our guest will testify, sports, music, broadcasting, 38 years doesn't happen, does it?
Not very often, but I think there's a company that you're going to mention that has done that and is continuing to do that.
It does for a guy named Scott Wallifer at Two Rivers Ford. Scott is the shop foreman, and he's been at Two Rivers Ford for 38 years, John, and I just got my Expedition back. They brought it with the mobile service, absolutely fixed the first time. And I had a couple things that were lingering, and they fixed it. But congratulations to Scott. 38 years, the family-run difference at Two Rivers Ford.
And they hired him when he's now 49. So there was child labor laws that they've... No, we're just kidding. Yeah. That is awesome. Congratulations. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
It's the Second Cup of Joe and John, with Joe Elvis and John Dwyer.
Joe!
Look at us.
How about this?
New sites.
Music Row, eSpace's building. We'll talk about that. We're so proud to have moved, upped our game, your relationships with the guy, John
Pirtle.
Thank you. There's a parking garage here, and yes. I noticed I don't leave here at 5 p.m., okay? But are you one that parks like you back? I want to find out about our guest, too, because he's going to weigh in on it.
Well, last time when we were here, we were checking it out. You had the Mustang, the 2026 GT, pulled in nose first, and I was in my loaner from Two Rivers Ford.
How everybody should park.
Which was a new Bronco. I mean, in the big engine with that powder baby blue, which I went, oof, but now I loved it. But that was my loaner car, and I back in the big vehicles because you don't want to back out. It's harder to see bumping and stuff on folks. So back in, your nose first out, and off you go. And because I have the talent to back in. Can you back up a boat?
It's not that at all. What it reminds me of is growing up in South Bend, Indiana, and there was... On our way to our high school was an adult bookstore, and you could people backed in. I go, Dad, why are they backing in? It was an awkward conversation, but it's because you don't want the license plate. So because when somebody goes, hey, I saw your car there, and it's like, wasn't my car. I think backing in is so elitist and so, but then again, I don't park in a busy place like that. But when people do it at a grocery store, and just park and be a big person and back out.
So unless you're at an adult bookstore, don't back in. Is that what you're saying?
That's kind of the moral of this story.
But we are thoroughly enjoying this. eSpaces, locations in Nashville, Knoxville, Atlanta, and Orlando. And it's a large building. There's two of them on Music Row, one in the Nations, one in Brentwood. And all that, all encompassing, there's a big general community room with the great kitchen. And folks around here, it's neat to see the workspaces. I don't know how they get anything done because it's a great. You can have your own office, or you can have a big 20-person office.
I'm glad that we're not cool enough to be here, and they're gonna catch on. But for now, we're gonna do. Let's get to our guest who just rolled in. Okay, let's do that.
Hey, we know people. Let's take a spin through Joe and John's Rolodex.
Joe, it stops on B. The 2000 Titans #1 pick, linebacker, Mr. Monday Night, Keith Bulluck. Welcome to the Second Cup of Joe and John.
Okay.
Here we go.
I got my own little intro music. That was cool.
That's really for everybody.
What y'all got going on.
I hate to tell you we do that for
in the East.
Everybody.
Hey, look, bro. I didn't expect anything different, but I thought it was a nice little touch.
I appreciate that. Welcome.
We have that personal relationship that you're just going to, blow the spot, but I just thought that was a great touch.
I appreciate
Excellent. Our nice little room. Observations, thoughts?
Well, the plug for the eSpaces was great, and as you were plugging it, I'm sitting here, man, I would love to talk to the owner to see how I can invest and get me an eSpace.
Let me tell you, we can. That would do us a favor too. Scratch each other's back. We'll get to so many things, but you have a podcast because everybody in the world needs one. Yeah. How's that going?
It's going good, man. It's kind of like a show. In this world today, I guess since COVID, when everybody just started doing, taking media into their own hands, you realize there are no rules to it, right? So you kind of figure out what you want to do, and you realize that didn't work, and then you try something else, that didn't work. So I think I've hit my groove. It's called the Bullseye View on Bullseye View TV on YouTube, and right now I'm very local. I would say I'm very local because I've been interviewing
local.
Been interviewing former teammates, former Titans. I got to get John Dwyer on there.
Do you?
But, yeah, man, you're a local legend. People used to see you every single day. I know when I first got here, I saw you just about every single day, except this time of year if we weren't in the playoffs or something like that. You know what I mean? So you're a staple in this community. But that being said, yeah, I'm just kind of getting myself back out there in this community because the last, I would say, 10 years for sure, I've been in business and entrepreneurship. I've obviously done things on the radio here locally, 104.5, Titans radio, Sunday nights during the season. I'm on television with Steve Lehman and John Burton and, Jonathan Hutton. But other than that, man, I've just been raising my family and working at my coffee shop the last 6 years.
Just for Love's your coffee shop in Franklin. Great spot. I've been there. How did you gravitate to that? And plus, there's a charitable side to this as well.
Yeah, 1,000%. So when I retired, I always, I did what just about everybody does. You do some media. I was on Sirius XM, MSG, did some spots on ESPN, but I always knew I wanted to go back and pursue my MBA because I just made, a nice little bit of money in the NFL. So for me is, all right, how do I flip this cash?
Right.
So, getting a secondary education was always important to me, and I found a executive MBA program through George Washington University where, other athletes from the NFL, Olympians, actors, it was a program for people that have already maybe have done some things within business or had some capital that they wanted to learn how to, become that high-powered or that, CEO.
Sure.
So that was really cool.
So Syracuse was your base for your football and your university work, and so George Washington for your master's. Congratulations!
Yeah.
Did you? Football takes you over in college and stuff. What was your major there? Was there anything in business that interested you, or were you just 1,000% for football?
You know what? Honestly, when I was a foster kid growing up, so there comes a time where where things start to change. The people around you are like looking into like colleges and stuff. And I'm just, happy to have a place to stay, so when I realized you could get a scholarship, that's kind of when it kind of focused in because everybody else was talking about SATs and like all of these different things. And I'm thinking, damn, how am I going to pay for college? You know what I mean? I had a great foster family. Like the Welch family, they were great. I'm still in touch with them to this day. But at the same time, all my bills weren't accounted for. You get a certain amount of money through the state, but then at 18 is when I aged out. So I knew college wasn't going to be paid for. So, yeah, that's kind of when I locked in on, sports. And then I was recruited by, the teams I mostly had interest in was Michigan and UVA. But I got recruited by a lot of different schools, and I picked Syracuse because I enjoyed my recruiting trip. And, my family could get there. I grew up 3.5 hours away from Syracuse. And then, I got my major was psychology. I gave you the long-winded.
That's perfect.
But my major was psychology, the study of human behavior. And at 48, I use it in my everyday life, but I don't think I ever would have became a psychologist.
Right.
Common sense would tell you not to look to Joe and John for this, but time for life lessons from Joe and John.
Don't you wish you were playing college ball now?
Oh, man.
A little bit different of a payday.
There's the boat. There's what you missed.
Yeah.
Man. Holy smokes.
How about that?
Isn't that weird?
Look, I feel
Did
like,
you take any money from anybody? I mean, let's statute your limitations over. Syracuse, did you pizza?
We weren't like big on, like we had to go to class just about. We had like a 99% graduation rate. Like, I hear they do things differently in the SEC, but
ooh, that's a swipe.
That's
the way it is.
It's SEC country, ain't it? Look, I know where I'm at. But yeah, we went to class. We had to be accountable. Like, I'm not saying that, they didn't, in the SEC and other conferences didn't, but I've heard some stories.
What do you think, not to belabor it, but what do you think about that environment for college kids? Like, they were talking about Beck with Miami. He's already made $4 million. And, how do you think that's going to play out for college football over the next 10 years?
I think that whatever, Carson Beck, he's made $4 million. I think he deserves it because the university has made way more than $4 million. And they've been doing it for 50, 60, 75 years. So whatever these kids can get, they can get, because I was a student athlete. And you remember, like, back in the day, like, when your ATM card, you can take out $5, you know what I mean? Right. I remember I had
are old.
I had $3 one time, and I couldn't get that $3, and
we've all been there.
You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I'm a student athlete, but I see my jersey in stores. Forget me, Donovan McNabb, Marvin Harrison, Dwight Freeney, right. Quentin Spotwood, and if we get free pizza or a ride somewhere. I remember, I went to the compliance office, the coach's secretary, to get a stamp. How much is a stamp in 1996? But you couldn't even give me a stamp.
Yeah, like 40 cents.
So, what all these kids are getting, I'm happy for them. But at the same time, I feel like the transfer portal, which is different than NIL, the transfer portal is really what's hurting these kids.
It's
because
brutal.
They have the opportunity to leave when they feel like things aren't going their way. And I feel, in this society today, a lot of people feel like things aren't going their way. You come in as this star, that star, whatever star you are, it shouldn't matter. Really, it comes down to the work ethic and the grind. And I feel that these kids, what they're missing out on is, what really builds you as a young man, that builds you into a man, the adversity that you have to go through. I had Eddie George on my podcast, and he was talking about the adversity he had to go through at, Fort Union, the adversity he had to go through as a freshman at Ohio State. You hear about Tom Brady. He had to compete with Drew Henson his senior year at quarterback. And, look what Tom Brady has become. I feel like for me, that stands out because Michigan is one of the schools I wanted to go to. And we played them my junior and senior year, and I had a great game, both times we played. But, Tom Brady, same draft class. I knew Tom, the 2002 Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
He's dropping names now.
Yeah.
He remembers
but it's part of my story. You tell your story how you need to tell it.
There you go. Accountability is what you're saying. These guys, they just get pissed off, and they're just gonna say,
and then I don't know how they're gonna develop if they're doing that at 19, 20.
That's right.
And then there was 3,900 kids that were in the transfer portal that did not get picked up to their schools. To another school. Because you don't have any value when you just put yourself in the transfer portal because you're pissed off at the coach or you don't think you're getting a fair shot. You develop value like a Mendoza or a Beck or, a lot of these guys that we see go on to other schools and play right away. Help this team be one of the top teams in the nation, not just a guy that's kind of really looking for a home.
Yep.
All right.
Amen.
Rapid fire.
We're going to get back to why he's called Mr. Monday Night. If you're a Titans fan, you know that.
Can't wait.
But Keith, these are rapid fire questions, quick answers. Never goes that way. So false advertising. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, it took me 45 minutes to get here. It took John about an hour and a half. You came in. What gets your temper going besides Nashville traffic?
These days, not too much, man. I got 3 little girls, and I was a professional football player, an all-pro linebacker. So, if I walked around with the temperament of
all those things,
it wouldn't really go over too well in the public spaces. So, it would take a lot. I'm from New York, so I'm kind of a smart ass. I'm a little sarcastic, so I can give jabs. I can roll with the punches. It's gonna take a lot for me to really put my hands on somebody.
Tell us about your little girls real quick.
We got Kira, who's 18. We got Kenzie, who's 16, and Cody, who's 13. Basketball. Cody plays basketball. They all run track. Kira had a really great run at volleyball from 12 to 17. She put all this work in to tell me that she doesn't want to play volleyball, and I guess that's a part of parenthood that most parents go through. And I only wanted what's best for her. If she chose she didn't want to play volleyball, that's great. She's going to obviously run track. She's running track this year, her senior year, so maybe she'll run track in college. I just want her to be happy. Kenzie's a sophomore, plays volleyball, runs track. She's still playing the travel. They were about to try and make us go to Indianapolis this weekend for a tournament.
No.
Like,
you don't want to be that travel day. Yeah, and by the way, they're not going to date until they're 30, right? And that's just 3 teenage girls. Let me ask you this: a favorite photograph? It can be iconic. It can be a family photo. When you think of a favorite photograph, what comes to mind?
Oh, 2 just came to mind. Any photograph when we're at the beach and as a family, and there's a photograph where we were at the Rock of Gibraltar, and they have these monkeys, and we're all in the photograph, and the monkey was in the picture, and my youngest is kind of looking at them, like looking side-eyeing the monkey, and I don't know, that just kind of
That's funny.
sticks out.
That's the first time we've had that as a favorite
story.
photograph.
Yeah.
Rock of Gibraltar with a monkey.
Everyone gets real serious.
It was just funny because we're trying to take a good picture, and she's sitting here like looking at this monkey like, yo, what you doing, little man?
What 2 principles in life matter to you the most?
Man, principle. I would need the quick definition of a principle, but I got it. I would say one is I don't know if this is a principle, but respect and integrity.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Respect and integrity.
Excellent.
Favorite sandwich?
You know what?
What's your guilty pleasure?
Shoot, it's not like I'm making it, but my favorite sandwich is definitely in a New York Italian combo.
Oh, baby.
Okay.
Good stuff. Best tip, since we're talking about it, best tip for being a dad.
Best tip for being a dad is pay attention, listen, and be a dad, be yourself, because I feel like, you have different examples of what a dad should be like, but who's to say what a dad should be like for your kid? Even if you get pressure from your spouse, that's not what, look, nobody's telling you how to be a mom. I can't tell you how to be a mom because I'm not a mom, I'm a dad. So, and I also feel like when kids get older, you can have those conversations like, dang, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? But you just keep it real with yourself and your kids, right?
All right, final question from me. Dinner guests, all-time dinner guests. They can be dead or alive.
How many?
I cut 1 or 2. I mean,
1 or 2?
You're Keith, but you can, if you want to book,
dinner guests.
Book the back room, of Jeff Ruby's and bring in 30 people. That's up to you. But
I wouldn't bring 30 people. I feel like 3 would be good because we could pass the conversation around.
Okay. Like right now.
Right. Yeah. So 3. Let's do
anybody.
Let's do dead just cause.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Let's go dead.
Tupac, Malcolm X, and Richard Pryor.
Hey.
Oh my God, that would be good.
That'd be
because it can't be like that. It's like you'll get your serious conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody will be dropping some knowledge, and then somebody will be over here, man. Stop dropping, breaking all that up. So
What final question? What advice would you give your 18-year-old self now? Ooh, good one.
Oh man, I don't live with regret, so it's like one of those things. I would just go back, and I would probably tell myself to focus a little more because I was already focused. So if I told myself to focus a little more, man, I might have missed out on some great moments.
Sure. Yeah, right.
All right. Joe, just a moment about Two Rivers Ford. It's the real deal. And what do we mean by that? Best price, clearly marked on the website or window sticker. It's authentic. And like other dealers, and this is going on, if you see the social media, there's been some really good kind of poking of other dealers of saying, you just have to see it. But they're playing on the fact that when you go in there, there's no add-ons. There's no, we're going to give you a vehicle at this price. And then, oh, by the way, we're adding this, a la carte stuff. Two Rivers Ford is good about that. It's family owned since 1983 in Mount Juliet, and they will treat you right.
Agreement. And I think even to what Keith was talking about earlier, accountability. John Barker Sr. started it. Matthew Barker's running it now, his son. Folks who have worked there 38 years, like we talked about earlier. The family-run, family-owned difference. You can see every vehicle, tworiversford.com. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Joe and John have come to the fork in the road.
You look great, Keith.
I told him that coming up the elevator. But these guys, these Titans don't age. They all live here.
Looking great.
Yeah.
You all
Appreciate
just,
Yeah. Some of them do age, but you're looking good. We've had a couple on here. What the hell happened to you?
I don't know. They might smoke cigarettes. I feel like when people that smoke cigarettes, it dries them out.
Yeah, they make it leathery. Yeah, they did. My mom smoked for 65 years, and she was a pro.
Yeah, my mom smoked and drank.
Yeah,
so she couldn't no more. Like she's still alive, but
she just can't. What's your what is it a everyday workout routine? What's your diet like? As we get 40s, 50s, 60s, it's hard to run it off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 48. I work out a couple times a week. I don't do much cardio, but I do take a cool class at Lifetime over in Franklin, Warrior Scope, which gives me a little cardio. It stretches me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but then I'll be on the gym. I'll hit some free weights, dumbbells. I don't like bench press because my shoulders have been through some things.
Yeah, you've paid the price.
And yeah, there's no diet. I like to cook. I'm a self-proclaimed chef bully. Nobody else calls me that but me. But
you love some of your own food.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, when we lived in Jersey, so when the last team I played for was the Giants. I always had a place in Edgewater, New Jersey, because I'm from New York. So even when I played with the Titans, I stayed in Jersey in the offseason. So I didn't come back to Nashville, but I never sold my house and like Whole Foods and everything. It was a walkable community in Jersey. We moved here. Everybody wants to order. My wife don't want to go to the grocery, so it's like, all right, I'll go to the grocery store. And then we just started cooking because I'm not trying to eat out and raise my kids like that. So, I had to get nice with it.
That's great.
Fork in the road, if you weren't playing, and I think business would have been, if you blow out a knee or something, but you had an 11-year career. You mentioned a couple-time All-Pro, which is a step higher than Pro Bowler. Mr. Monday Night because of 3 interceptions with Drew Brees against the New Orleans Saints. You bit your time. You knew you played special teams. You were number 1 pick. Now you got to get on the field. Yeah. This is a different era. Yeah. But what would be a fork that if you could have been another team, somebody drafted before you, what would be a good fork if you weren't playing football?
Oh, if I didn't play football and I just graduated from Syracuse, man, that's interesting. My best friend moved to California and became an actor. Okay. So I probably would have hung out in New York for a little bit, probably with my college guys, not hung out, but tried to, figure out what I'm going to do there and then just be like, my boy, I probably would have just moved to Cali, I think.
Okay.
And but I would have had a degree already. I wouldn't have tried to be an actor because he's already acting. I probably would have just tried to figure it out, because back then you figure you got a degree, you're going to make it in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I would have probably crashed and burned at first, but I would have landed on my feet.
Of course. You know, Keith, I've been there since 99 when they opened it up at Adelphia, and it's just always been great to watch you play. And in the early days, you're just always a great leader on the team. You represented the team. You're a very smart guy. You speak for the team and yourself very well. You represent fantastic. And you just had a great career. I'll speak for all Titans fans. First time I've ever met you. You were fantastic for the Tennessee Titans as a great leader and as a great player. Great job. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. And you know what? When I got to the Titans, they had just gone to the Super Bowl in '99, or was it
2000?
Yeah, 2000.
January 30th of 2000.
But that was the '99 team, so I was on the 2000 team. So my NFL start, it was all business. You know, those guys got there with a little bit of luck and grit and fortitude and a new stadium in '99, but in 2000, you know, that was the mission. And like John said, I was a special teams first rounder, and you know, I very rarely got on the field, but it was important to me to uphold that standard that was set for me as a rookie second year. Then when I got on the field, and you see Eddie leave, you see Steve leave, and then we had some down years. It was important for me to leave it how it was when I got here, you know. So when we went 13-3 that year, and then we started the next year 0-6, you know, it was important for me to step up and speak up, you know, and be one of those leaders to help rectify that situation. Obviously, it just wasn't me. I think Floyd Reese did a great job of bringing in like the Chris Hope and bringing in the Kevin Mawai and the David Thornton and the Nick Harpers and, you know, those guys. And then we had some good drafts. I think Reinfeld drafted the Chris Johnsons and, you know, Lindell Whites, you know, Vince Young.
Pork chop.
Yeah, like all those people that were a part of a team, and that's really what we became, was a team. You know, obviously, you know, the pillars were Steve, Eddie, you know, Frank, you know, Blaine, Javon, however it's looked at. But, you know, I enjoyed to be a part of both eras.
Go ahead.
Do you have a game that lives in your mind, rent-free, good or bad? Where you just, if you're going to have a
I
good
know
thought.
which one. Besides New Orleans, I think
one game.
I'm going to ruin your dinner when I bring this up.
And it might have been just special moments for you.
You know what? I don't have one game. A lot of people bring up the New Orleans game, and that's cool. That's fine. But it was really nothing. I don't want to say nothing to it, but it wasn't a challenging game. We beat the Saints pretty handily, and I just made the plays that came my way. Maybe that Pittsburgh playoff game. I don't know. I don't. I like the
one you won at home.
Yeah,
with the fireworks that went off
prematurely.
Premature. Do you remember that Joe Nedney
set the stage a little bit?
well, tell the story, because
it was the game went back and forth, and it comes down to a field goal, and it's very fresh in my head because I just saw it the other day. And Joe Nedney, you know, goes and he kicks it. It goes through, but Pittsburgh called the timeout to ice it. And then, of course, we got to do it over. He kicks it. It go. No, that's when the fireworks
go off.
After that,
the fireworks went off. Right,
he was
then.
up in 2:31 drunk. He was.
That's fine. So I almost messed it up. So the fireworks went off, and then like Pittsburgh had called the timeout. So the fireworks went off, and he goes and kicks it again, and that's the one he missed. But the defensive back ran into him, and he, whirl. They called the penalty, and then he made it. So yeah, the premature fireworks. And then he missed it, but then it was a penalty, so it was
then he made it.
Yeah.
That was good. Was O'Donnell the quarterback for Pittsburgh in that game?
No.
If he was, we would have won.
Oh.
We did win.
Yeah, you did.
You
you gotta wear shades.
God, the flood of memories of you being after the Super Bowl and then the down years and then coming back again. Good stuff, man. One thing that people may not know is that you, and I know Mark Bulger, former Rams quarterback, you were working to try to qualify for the 2022 Winter Olympics in, Joe.
Oh, yes. In
curling.
Yeah, man.
Is that because you were like real good at sweeping the floor, or what? What got you doing that?
Jared Allen, Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Jared Allen. So a lot of former NFL players live in retired and live in Nashville, and Jared Allen, you know, our kids go to the same school. One day I'm like, yo, that looks like Jared Allen. And I'm like, yo, Jared. It's like, yo. And I've never met him, but like, you know, Jared Allen, like, you know what I'm saying? And then we exchanged numbers, and then he was driving. He's like, yo, I hear you live over here. Looking for how about? And then he's like, hey, have you curled before? And I was like, actually, I have curled. He was like,
that's not true.
It is. When I retired, one of my friends, Nando DeFino, he worked for the Fantasy Sports Network in Toronto, and I would go from Nashville to Toronto on Saturdays, and I would be the football analyst for this fantasy football show. So we would have a professional, like, fantasy guy. Nando would be running it, and I would be give the football perspective. And our first office party I ever went to was at a curling rink in York, Ontario. So, yeah, I had curled before. I never said I was good.
Sure.
But Jared took that as me being qualified. So it was me, Jared, Mike Ruse, and Mark Bulger.
Nice.
And Mark Bulger owns T-Line out in the nations. So...
And you guys were trying to be on the 2022 Winter Olympics. I
yeah.
think. What was that process like?
Oh,
Did you
man.
make it so far? Or
COVID saved us.
Oh, okay.
COVID saved us from embarrassment. But nah, man, we had been in several Bonspiels. Those are the events. That's what they're called, Bonspiels.
You just spit in my face there.
Bonspiels.
I don't know. Bonspiel. Okay.
It's a long table too, so you already know. And the thing with curling is, you know what? We would be it's like baseball. There's 9 frames, but like if you get to like the 4th or 5th, you can get to a point where there's no way you can win. You know, so usually we would get to the 5th frame and realize there's no
10-run rule, and you're
just and part of that, obviously, we didn't have as much experience, but then stamina. You know, those guys, they go out every weekend and they're curling for fun, and we're really trying to make the Olympics. And like, look, I'm a realist. I didn't want to be the one to tell everybody that we don't have a shot. Yeah. So I just kind of went with it, man. You know what I mean? But like I said, COVID saved us. We couldn't travel because we had gone to Minnesota. We used to fly from Nashville to Minnesota on Tuesdays, train double sessions Tuesdays, double session Wednesdays, come back Wednesday night. We would do that every week for like 3 months.
Holy cow.
And you're saying COVID saved you because it didn't happen. Like you didn't.
COVID saved us in the sense that we couldn't travel anymore. Things were shut down. So everybody got rusty. Jared kind of still does it for fun. And Mark obviously owns, Mark is invested.
He's a goofy dude, man. He's fun. He's a good guy. They all live here. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's good. Just real quick, who was the hardest person to tackle?
The hardest person to tackle, anybody in open space.
Okay.
I feel like in the NFL, open space tackle is one of the hardest tackles to make, and like those running backs that are shifty and bit I'll go against Derrick Henry all day. You know what I'm saying? No, not in a sense that you know where he's gonna be. You know what I mean? Whereas somebody like, Fred Taylor or Tajay Spears, like one of those shiftier guys, like it's like, come on, guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So those small, shiftier guys in space, one-on-one tackles in the NFL are very hard. So I can't just say that. Anybody that you got to make a one-on-one tackle on,
right?
It's going to be tough.
Always hard. And Coach Fisher was just a guest on here, and he went to a little bit of, he liked to talk trash. You know, if somebody was giving it to him, he'd give it back.
Yeah, for sure.
And you obviously represent yourself very well. Yeah. Did you have a favorite trash talk, or was there anybody in the league that you found to be so irritating as one?
You know what? I didn't really do a lot of talking because I made the calls and I never came off the field. So, like, I needed all the energy that I could get. So I would definitely put something in, maybe like some bulletin board material, or give them a little something, because at the end of the day, as you said, I represent myself very well. So I was never worried about what my opponent was going to do to me and or us as a team. And I just hope I did that, because my media days were on Wednesday, so it's like fresh right there. And then especially in bigger games, you know, I need my teammates to play big, and we need to accept the challenge of whoever we're playing against, you know. That's what I loved about the NFL, you know. It's really true. Any given Sunday, like, I remember we had like you could be like 4-11 and you think you're going to win this Sunday and you don't got a shot.
And you do. You know, I'm going to ask this because as soon as we end a show, somebody will come up with a great story. Any weirdo story or fun story about the team
that hasn't been told?
That
because
hasn't
you
been
guys
told.
are all in the community. People know the stories.
It could have been a curling story.
Is there something, maybe a Fisher story that we can?
You at the Iron Tomato getting your Italian sandwich.
Was there hazing back then? Did you?
I mean, there was like one that just came to mind. You asked about hazing, so you asked people who talk shit. Pac-Man Jones was a rookie, and Pac-Man would talk. That's all he did was talk. And then it was during camp. He had held out, and like, Pac-Man is the type, especially then, he's the type of young man. He's gonna feel comfortable in any room. And he might make other people feel uncomfortable, but he's comfortable, and he's not necessarily trying to be a jerk. That's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we kind of got a little tired of that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So
what'd you do?
We got one of the bench press bars, and we got the lineman to hold Pac-Man down, and we hogtied him, like, you know, you know how you put him on a spit, so to speak. Yeah. And then we carried him into the training room, and we just kept dunking him in the cold tub.
Oh, no.
Dunking him in the cold tub. And then somebody dropped their end, and now he's kind of drowning in the cold tub. Obviously, we didn't drown him, but
he played 14 years. So you didn't.
Pac-Man was he was a fun little teammate. You know, that's a rated G story.
Yeah, that is
good story, because I'm sure there's way other knots.
When he said he's comfortable in any room, I'm like, I'm just going to leave that alone.
Strip club, this club.
Yeah, okay. All right, KB. Hey,
you started it off with that. Anyway.
It's very cool that you came here. You and that group of Titans created, like, for Joe and the media. You guys were really fun to cover, and I love the fact that you're all doing this entrepreneurial. You're running a freaking business.
I was gonna let you just
sink. Yeah, I was a broadcaster.
I know.
Did you know that? Professional. I got paid. I got paid. But you're doing the coffee shop. You're doing the podcast. I love the fact that you're giving back and your philanthropy. And, Nashville and Middle Tennessee is better that Keith Bulluck is here.
I'm better that because I am in Nashville, and it gives me the opportunity to give back. Gave me the opportunity to, you know, at 48 become the man I am, and, you know, have 3 kids and be in this community and being alive and thriving.
Amen. Keith, may God bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and your beautiful family. And I would say, without a doubt, that your best days are ahead of you in teaching and mentoring and leading in your own way. So congratulations.
Appreciate you, Joe. Yeah. I got to get you some coffee, man. The cup of Joe, I got to make sure you got some coffee, so I'm going to hook you up.
Sponsorship.
You know, Just for Love sponsorship would be great.
I got you, brother.
Can we make a pitch right now?
We're gonna talk off air about
we're gonna cut a deal
in our business right now.
We're not gonna air it out here. Thanks for being on the Second Cup of Joe
and John.
It's the Second Cup of Joe and John as their guests expound on any and all topics within the realm of decency. Want to be a sponsor? Let a TV and radio guy help build your business. Email the show, secondcupofjoeandjohn@gmail.com. Now, hold on tight and grab another Second Cup of Joe and John.